How to install a Delta lavatory faucet with Touch2O or Touch2O XT technology. The goal of this video is to walk you through installing your new Delta faucet with Touch2O or Touch2O XT technology. While we will be using the faucet design shown here, your faucet may look different since designs and finishes vary. As with any faucet installation, check to make sure everything is in the box using the Quick Start Guide and the Maintenance and Installation Guide for reference. Before you begin, you'll want to gather the tools you'll need for the job, like 2 adjustable wrenches, channel lock pliers, safety goggles, plumber's tape, and you may want to have a flashlight handy to help you see under the sink. You may also need silicone if the surface of your counter or sink is uneven. The first step is installing the faucet body. For this step, you'll need the packet marked with the number 1 and the faucet body. If you're installing your faucet on a single-hole sink, you will need the faucet body, insulator base ring with LED, circular gasket, nut, and installation wrench. If you will be installing on a 3-hole sink, you will need to use the 4-inch escutcheon and escutcheon gasket instead of the circular gasket. Now let's get started. Remove the middle from the white gasket and discard. Thread the LED wire through the gasket. Place the gasket into the groove of the insulator base LED ring. Press down on the gasket so that it seats or fits snugly all the way around. If you'd like to use the escutcheon, you will not use the circular gasket for the black LED base. Thread the LED wire through the escutcheon and seat the LED base on the escutcheon with the LED light facing forward. Press the insulator base ring down onto the escutcheon so that it fits snugly all the way around. Gently pull and extend the LED wire from the bottom of the insulator base. Then feed the tubes, mounting stud, and PEX supply lines through the assembled base and gasket. Make sure the circular gasket is positioned into the groove of the insulator base. Also make sure the LED light is facing forward on the faucet body. If you're using the escutcheon plate, slide the LED insulator base and escutcheon over the tubes and mounting stud. To mount the faucet body to the sink, feed the supply lines through the hole in the sink. Place the faucet body on the sink, making sure that the LED light is facing forward. If you're using the escutcheon plate, ensure that everything is in the proper position after you place the faucet body onto the sink. If the surface of the sink is rough or uneven, use a little silicone on the gasket to help seal gaps. Once you have set the faucet body in place, it's time to mount it securely. Under the sink, slide the insulating bracket over the shank, making sure the metal side is facing down. Make sure the bracket is in position firmly and evenly against the sink, and that the LED wire is not crimped. Thread the nut onto the stud and hand tighten. You may find it easier to initially use the tool provided to thread the nut, then hand tighten. Look above the sink to ensure that the faucet body and the LED light on the base are facing forward. Then use the tool provided to tighten the nut securely to the sink. Next, we'll install the electronics. For this step, you'll need packet number 2 from the box, as well as the solenoid valve. Insert the outlet tube into the top of the solenoid until snug. Then secure in place with the metal clip. It is very important to install the metal clip correctly by sliding the 2 top metal prongs through the thin slots at the top of the solenoid inlet. Do not install the clip upside down. Make sure that the clip slides into the thin slots on the solenoid. Give a moderate tug on the solenoid to ensure connection has been made. Then insert the gray hose into the bottom of the solenoid valve, making sure it fits snugly. Attach the black plastic clip, securing the hose to the solenoid. Pull down to check that the connection is secure. The next step is to make the wiring connections. For this step, you'll need the packet marked with the number 3. To begin, it is recommended that you make sure you have dissipated any static charge by touching the cold stop or another ground with your hand. Remove the protective plastic cap from the LED wire that is hanging from the faucet. Plug the LED wire into the side of the solenoid assembly until you hear a click. Next, slide the solenoid wire up the threaded stud and secure the nut in place using the installation tool. It's important to keep the wires from twisting together or from being too close to one another. All electrical connections must be made before the batteries are loaded. With all 4 batteries in place within the box, connect the wire from the solenoid to the top of the battery box. Place the battery box flat on the cabinet floor, at least 2 inches from the cabinet walls and other objects. Use the adhesive Velcro patch to secure this to your cabinet. If your battery box doesn't reach the floor, you can set it on a non-metallic object at least 2 inches from the cabinet walls. The next step is to connect the water lines. For this step, you will need packet 4 from the box and 2 adjustable wrenches. Remove the check valves and ferrules from the bag and install these onto the supply stops. If ferrules and nuts are already present on the stops, remove them and use the ones provided with the faucet. The check valves and ferrules that ship with your faucet are essential for the faucet to operate properly. Then, starting with the hot water, insert the ferrule into the hot water stop. Screw on the check valve by hand tightening. Then, take the adjustable wrench and make 1 full turn to finish tightening the check valve into place. It is important to make sure the connection is tight, but do not over-tighten. Now, do the same for the cold water stop. Look at the ends of the hot and cold water lines and check to make sure all fittings and end connections are free of debris. Attach the cold water line, blue, to the cold check valve using the metal nut. Hand tighten the nut to a snug position. Then give it another full turn with a wrench. You'll want to hold the nut in place on the check valve while you are tightening the nut from the supply line. When installing the water lines, you may need to loop any extra length as shown. Delta Faucet Company strongly recommends against cutting the supply lines, as doing so introduces a potential leak point. If your project requires cut lines, see the Maintenance and Installation Guide for custom fit connection instructions. Attach the hot water lines, red, to the hot check valve. Again, hand tighten the nut to a snug position. Then give it another full turn with a wrench. Do not use pipe dope or other sealants on water line connections. The next step is to install the drain assembly. For this step, you will need packet 5 from the box, the drain assembly, and the tongue and groove pliers. Please note that this is a critical and necessary step to ensure proper operation of your faucet with Touch2O or Touch2O XT technology. The drain assembly is made from a special non-conductive material which prevents interference with the electronic hands-free technology. First, remove the protective cover and the stopper and unscrew the flange. Apply a generous amount of silicone around the entire base of the flange. Then place the flange into the drain hole and wipe off any excess silicone. Beneath the sink, insert the drain body into the drain hole from below and tighten at least 2 turns. Make sure the pivot rod nut aims toward the back of the sink. While holding the drain body stationary, tighten the drain nut until snug and sealed against the bottom of the sink. Then utilize the tongue and groove pliers to tighten the nut. Tighten until it does not leak, but be careful to not over-tighten. Do not twist the assembly. Be sure that the hole on the tailpiece is facing the faucet after you finish tightening. You can install your pop-up stopper as removable or non-removable. Place the stopper in the drain, then remove the pivot nut from the tailpiece. If you place the rod through the hole on the stopper will be non-removable. If you place the rod alongside the hole, then the stopper can be removed. In this case, we will install the stopper as non-removable. Place the ball side of the horizontal rod into the tailpiece until it engages the stopper. Replace the nut over the rod to hold it into place. Slide one end of the metal clip onto the rod and then place the pivot rod in the proper hole. Choose the hole in the strap that will be best for operating your lift rod and pop-up. Then fasten the metal clip on the other side of the strap to prevent the pivot rod from coming out. Place the lift rod in the hole at the back of the faucet and attach under the sink to the strap with the metal screw. Tighten the screw. Check the operation of your pop-up and clean up the extra silicone from the sink. Make minor adjustments by loosening the lift rod strap screw and repositioning the lift rod. Make major adjustments by removing the metal clip from the horizontal rod and moving the pivot rod to a different hole in the strap. The last step is to flush the lines. It's time to turn the water on. Before turning on the hot and cold water stops, make sure the handle is in the off position. Remove the aerator from the spout using the aerator wrench. Turn on both hot and cold water supplies. Flush water lines for about 1 minute. This will help flush away any dust or debris. Turn off the water. Reinstall the aerator and tighten with the aerator wrench. Now check the connections to the solenoid and the connections at the stops for any leaks. Retighten if necessary, but don't over-tighten. Once the faucet is installed, it's time to test it. Make sure that both hot and cold water supplies are on. Use the handle to turn the faucet on and set your desired temperature and flow rate. Then leave it in the on position. Tap the spout to turn it off and on electronically. You will need to use a deliberate touch like playing a piano. Touching too fast or too slow will not produce the desired results. If you tap your faucet on and leave it running, the water flow will shut off automatically after 1 minute. If you have a Touch2O XT model, your hands-free functionality is also active. Simply move your hands anywhere inside the sensing field, approximately 4 inches around the faucet, to activate the water. Once you remove your hands from the sensing field, the water will shut off within seconds. If you want to deactivate the hands-free technology and use only the touch technology, you will need to do the following. Turn the handle to the off position. Quickly tap the faucet 6 times within 4 seconds. The lights will flash blue and red. Then tap the faucet 6 times within 4 seconds again. The hands-free functionality is now deactivated, and your faucet will operate only in touch or manual modes. To reactivate the hands-free technology, simply repeat the same steps. Turn the handle to the off position. Quickly tap the faucet 6 times within 4 seconds. The lights will flash blue and red. Then tap the faucet 6 times within 4 seconds again. With proper installation, your Delta lavatory faucet with Touch2O or Touch2O XT technology will bring years of stylish, efficient, trouble-free water delivery. If you experience any difficulty, please call 1-800-345-DELTA for assistance, or visit deltafaucet.com/touchbath for more information on your faucet. Delta Touch2O and Delta Touch2O XT technology. Another way Delta is more than just a faucet. See what Delta can do.